Joining us for this is Dr. Kwame Asante. He's head of the Center for European Studies at the University of Ghana. Doc, thanks for joining us. We also have Dr. Jabir Mohammed. He's senior lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School. And also joining us is Dr. Pakwesi Eduafol Abedu. He is a development analyst. Gentlemen, thanks for joining us. Now, as we do it always, I'll start with you, Dr. Asante. Give you the... Okay, so I think let me come to you, Dr. Pakwesi Eduafol Abedu. I will give you 2 minutes, to tell us what issue is weighing down on you now.
Doc, if you can hear us, I think you should unmute because we can't seem to hear you yet.
Yes, good morning, sweetie, and good morning, Sammy. I hope we are doing well this morning, and good morning to our cherished viewers and listeners. Yes, this morning I want to talk about the environmental risk and hazards that we are being exposed to, especially in the era where the rain is has started already, and we expect a lot of, disaster and some kind of exposure in terms of risk and all the flooding and the issues that come along with heavy rains that we normally experience during this time of the year. And so I will entreat every Ghanaian to be very conscious and mindful about this moment and the need for us to put in place the needed mitigation and adaptation measures systems to ensure that with the onset of the rains, we'll be able to avert any possible risk that we are likely to encounter or we are going to be exposed to. We don't have to wait for the issues or the disaster or the risk to happen to us before we put in measures to manage them. It can be fatal, it can be disastrous. And so I urge everybody to be very mindful of the time that we are in now and do the needful.
All right, thank you very much. Let's bring in the other guest on Zoom now. And he is also another doctor. Dr. Jabir is with the University of Ghana Business School. Doc, so let's give you some minutes to tell us what issues you want to have a bite on before we go into the papers.
Okay. Good morning to you, Ben, and good morning to Sweetie and all our listeners. This morning, I want to go to the Bank of Ghana. I think recently there has been an issue of a dismissal of dismissal of some group of people from the Bank of Ghana. And even the minority has issued a statement regarding that. I want to just add my voice to the clarion call. I know that there was an agreement reached right after the election that there should not be recruitment in most of these public institutions. But that notwithstanding, some group of people were recruited. I don't know whether those people passed through the right procedure before they were recruited. And on what basis did the central bank decide to dismiss them after a period that they have served with the central bank? Mind you, most of these people, actually resigned from other works to take up a lucrative job from the central bank. And the central bank had finally gotten them out. I want to appeal that the central bank should come out with the reasons. They should come out with the clear explanation to why most of them were actually dismissed. Is it that they dismissed everybody or a few of them were dismissed? Is it that most of them were recruited based on political alienation and that they were not properly qualified and that they were put into positions that they did not merit? And that is how come that the central bank dismissed them.
Dr. Mohammed, in fact, they have offered some explanation. They say these people, the over 100 people who were dismissed, it's because they concluded their probationary period and they didn't meet the requirements to confirm them. And so it has nothing to do with politics. It's rather that they did not qualify to be confirmed after their 6-month probationary period. That's the explanation the Bank of Ghana offered.
Okay, well, if that's the explanation they offered, I don't see the reason why the minority should also come out with a statement saying that they deemed to be right to be there, and that certain labor laws were quoted for that matter. Even though I come around just trying to see the reasons that the Bank of Ghana gave, I did not see that. Just to say that they did not meet, after the provisional period, they did not meet their requirement, and for that matter, they should be dismissed. I don't think that is a good enough reason to explain. They have to come out with detail. Is it that some of them have fake certificates that we are seeing on air? Is it that some of them did not? As I also ask, they do not merit the position they were given. You know, in certain sensitive position could be given to them, and that they did not merit that, and their qualifications and experience did not merit that, but they were recruited and put into those positions, and the bank cannot risk keeping them there. Is it that they could have stepped down their position and put them somewhere, or why did they actually do that? So there have to be a proper explanation to that effect. Yes, because it is going to be a risk, okay, even onto society, because these people will come out and become jobless, and there's going to be a whole lot of problems in society, because they have families and all of that. And sometimes when you are picked for a particular position, even though you are on probation and you are going to be ended, sometimes they will even have to ask you to apply for you to be confirmed. So if they applied and they get all the whole of the documents and they check and they ensure that they were not properly qualified, that is justifiable. They can come out and give that explanation so that the public will know. They have to clear their name, because their name out there is not looking good.
All right.
And as a central bank, we don't want that.
All right. Thank you. Let's try again and see if we have Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante with us. He's not with us yet. Okay, so that means we get straight into the newspapers. And I mean, just what you're saying, I can piggyback on your submission this morning, Dr. Mohammed, because that story is also on page 10 of the Ghanaian Times newspaper, which is where I want to start. Minority condemns mass termination of employees by Bank of Ghana. And it says this dismissal, they explained, was carried out without just cause, consultation, or due process, represents which was a clear violation of the Constitution, the labor laws, and the basic decency. But we've listened to some arguments pouring in that suggest that if you feel you are unfairly treated, there are employment tribunals and other ways that you can seek some sort of redress. And so all those over 100 people who are affected, there's still opportunity to seek more clarity. But of course, Dr. Mohammed, your call for the Bank of Ghana to clarify this is also a good one. So what stories do we have on the front page of the Ghanaian Times newspaper? King Msawati III begins historic visit to Ghana. It's interesting that the most interesting thing about this king is that he has over 16 wives. Did you catch wind of that?
I mean, I've been reading about it, so I don't know whether indeed they're confirmed as 60 wives.
Yeah. Wow. And if you look into their eyes, it's a taboo. I mean, I love African culture.
You can't look into their eyes.
No, the eyes of the wives.
Those are wives of the king.
Yeah. Well, it's good to have him in Ghana. Let's continue. So, NIA workers lay down tools of operational support allowance, increasing infertility rates in developing countries worrying. 70,000 Ghanaian migrants use illegal pathways in pastures in 2023. That is according to... Doctors, please mute for us. I think we have some interference from your end. Okay, so let me start from the increasing infertility rate in developing countries, and that story is on page 11. It says a renowned obstetrician, gynecologist, and fertility specialist, Dr. Edem K. Hiaji, has raised concern over the increasing infertility rate in developing countries, especially in sub-Saharan Africa, linking it to reproductive tract infections. He said that infertility was a failure for a couple to achieve pregnancy. We know what this is. Quote, this can affect both men and women almost equally. I know, and I've seen so many documentaries and movies of people trying to have babies. And I'll come to you, gentlemen. Let me add just two more stories to it. Rawlings' values must be our guide, says the NDC national chairman. Yesterday, he was celebrated. The national chairman of the National Democratic Congress, Johnson Asiedu Nketia, says the values of the former president, Jerry John Rawlings, must be the guide for Ghanaians. He said the purpose of celebrating the birthday of the party's founder was to learn from his principles, such as probity and accountability, punctuality, positive defiance, his belief in democracy, and the need for a regular lifestyle audit. One more story, and then it will be it'll be your time to reflect on these from the Ghanaian Times newspaper. There was a story I saw. Okay, so 90,000 Borigo residents enjoy 2.5 million water expansion projects. PGE executive calls on Sports and Recreation Minister. I want to get to the story about the illegal migration from the Minister of Labour, and that's on page 12 of the Ghanaian Times newspaper. And he says that 70,000 Ghanaian migrants use illegal pathways to greener pastures in 2023. So, according to him, the perilous nature of the routes expose these illegal migrants to grave risks of human trafficking, forced labor, and loss of lives in their quest for greener pastures abroad. I think this is also why that call that we're going to have a structured system where we export labor to the countries that need skilled workers is a good call. But Dr. Jabril Mohammed, since you're the one on my screen to the left, to the right, I'll start with you. Let's reflect on these stories. I think you're muted, Doc.
Yes, I've unmuted myself.
Okay.
Yeah, the stories are many. I'll just pick a few of them to look at it.
Yes.
First of all, I want to look at the migrant issue. Migration is something that Africans always love to do. They always want to move away to seek for greener pastures. And some of these greener pastures, sometimes we end up into trouble. Some people end up being deported. Others who pass through the wrong routes end up sometimes being swallowed by what do you call it, water and other things. But migration brings in a lot of other benefits, especially with the migrant family. Sometimes they do remittances, so it has a sort of economic impact on our economies. They remit money back home for burdens, for school fees, for health, and even sometimes some of them go there to get the capital to come back to develop businesses. So I believe that we need to have a structured way of doing it. And very recently, the Ministry of Employment and the Youth and the Ministry of Youth, or YE, National Youth Agency, have come into an agreement to export some skilled labor to most countries that need them. And I think that is a very good call to ensure that we have a stability and we have an organized structure by which government can even earn better foreign exchange out of it. Because once we transport them, we export them out there, it is going to add to our gross domestic product, which our gross national product, which means that we are going to increase our net factor product from abroad. And when you increase your net factor product from abroad, it is going to add up and increase your current account position, which means that your savings is going to increase and you can finance your budget deficit through that. So it has a very good linkage when it comes to migrant relationship versus a relationship that gives us a good economic outcome. So that is a very good position.
Right.
Now, another thing I want to talk about is the king. The king who is visiting Ghana.
Right.
I think that he should not just stop in Accra or in Ashanti region. He should try to go to the northern region to experience the culture, especially he should go to the Gbewa Palace, the Yana Palace. If he goes there, that is why he's going to see cultural differences in the country, the real culture. He also have a lot of wives. He also displays some of his wives, and you'll see that, yes, elsewhere, the culture is also very rich. But I commend him for taking the opportunity to come to Ghana so that he can link up with his colleagues in Ghana and we can have a better position.
Okay.
Now, NIA having an issue with their allowances, I think that the government should try to fix them. It's becoming a very good institution and we cannot do without NIA. It's a very, very important institution because data is very important. Me as a researcher, I'm more interested in data. Can you imagine what will happen if by now every single Ghanaian has the correct data, so that we can make good, informed, and good economic decision? Now, Rawlins's values are very important, and I think that every Ghanaian needs to uphold the purpose of probity, accountability. Are we actually upholding the probity and accountability? Are people not stealing the coffers money, and they are not? If they want to be held accountable, party faithfuls will come out and want to protest against them, against why they are being held in custody. Both NDC and NPP file of this, because anytime that there is an issue that someone is going to be persecuted, someone is going to be prosecuted, and the person is arrested, you will see people massing up at police stations, people massing up at CID headquarters, Yoko, and all those places to demand their release. When people commit a crime, let them face the law. If they face the law and ensure that there is probity and accountability, you realize that at the end of the day, people will begin to know that if I commit a crime, I carry my own cross. The cross is not for everybody. The cross is not for political party members. It is my own cross I have to carry. So we have to ensure that that thing is done. If not that, and we continue to mass up at those public places to defend them, they will commit the crime knowing very well that even parliamentarians will walk from parliament to come to their place to go and support them. What kind of madness is that? So some of these things, we need to stop it. If we're able to stop it, people will face the law by themselves.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Mohammed. And Dr. Abaidu, please, I want to do something before I come to you to reflect. Yesterday, we caught wind of a child about 7 years old or so who had been hanged and was being beaten, lashed mercilessly by some people and others who were looking on without intervening. We sat here during the news review around this time yesterday and we called on the Ghana Police Service to take quick action. By close of day yesterday, we learned that the suspects, those who are actually perpetrating this crime, have been picked up and arrested. And so that's the statement coming from Ghana Police Service. This is just a way of saying thank you for heeding our call. And so the statement says that the police in Half Senate Division has rescued so the boy is 12 years old, who was seen in a viral video tied with a nylon rope hanging on a roof of a building and being subjected to severe beatings by two adults for having stolen 200 cedis at New Ankasa community near Elubo in the Western region. So the suspects are Issa Moro, age 58, and Suleiman Abdul Rashid, 27 years old. And they're currently assisting police with investigation in police custody. But the victim, the 12-year-old boy, is receiving medical attention and has been handed over to his father. And the command is assuring the safety of the public and urges that all can report any suspicious or harmful behavior promptly to the nearest police station. I mean, for a 58-year-old man and a 27-year-old man to be doing this to a 12-year-old boy because of 200 Ghana cedis, I cannot, for the life of me, comprehend this. So feel free to add this to your reflections for us, Dr. Abaidu. Okay, Dr. Abaidu, while we wait for you to establish a clear connection, I'll go back to Dr. Mohammed for his comments on this, and then Samuel Kojobre is to come in. Do we have Dr. Mohammed still?
Sweetie, in as much as people may steal, it does not give you the licenses to begin to do some of these things to them. Machiavelli in The Prince says that men sooner forget the loss of their father than that of their patrimony. Anytime your something is being stolen, you get more angry than even when your father passes away. That's what it simply means. But, I mean, it doesn't give you the license for you to give this kind of inhuman treatment to somebody who has stolen 200 Ghana cedis. Even if the person has stolen the whole of your wealth and you catch the person, that's the most important thing. What you need to do is to hand over the person to the appropriate authority, which is the police service. They are mandated to arrest criminals and punish them and arraign them before court. And if the court finds them guilty, they are punished accordingly. As humans, we don't have the right to mute out any punishment or mop injustice to anybody that we may arrest in the course of the person's stealing something or not. Now, if you look at Islamic principles says that when someone steals, in Sharia law, someone steals and you arrest the person, you don't just go and give the person and cut off the person's hand. You have to investigate first. Find out why the person stole the money. Is it that the person was hungry or the person was just greedy? If the person is greedy, that's where the sanctions are applied. But if they find out that justifiable, such a person stole because the person was hungry, the person did not have equity, the person did not have this and that, then a particular principle is applied to the person. Sometimes they even have to ship the person, not necessarily, even the shipping, it has to go through a proper procedure before the final issue is arrived. You cannot just catch a 12-year-old boy like this and tie the person's hands and you begin to use skin and whip the person. I think that the police must deal with them mercilessly. They have to ensure that they face the law. If they have to be in prison, they should go to prison so that it will serve as a deterrent to people who want to commit such a crime anytime, any soon.
Quite interesting. I mean, that video there is hard to watch, really, that a young boy is being killed like that. But do we have Dr. Bedu now ready to take a bite on this particular issue?
Yes, Sammy, if you can hear me.
Yeah.
Very well. So I'll touch briefly on the video showing currently. In fact, this is a serious issue of child right. And this time and age, if you find such an act, such a barbaric act, then it tells you that, look, Child Rights International and all the advocacy groups in this country, we have a lot of work to do. People still don't understand the need for us to respect the rights of children. I mean, the gentleman lashing this young boy, I'm asking myself, if he also go and do something wrong, is he expected that we also lash him in a similar manner? Mm. And what reason would he say that no? You see, we have been abusing children in this country, and this very incident, the culprit shouldn't be left go free. The needed punishment must be meted on them to ensure that it serves as a big deterrent for others. If not, there are several cases of this happening in most households, in most homes, especially in our rural communities in this country. Okay, it's very fortunate that this just came up, but a lot of these incidents are happening in all forms and manners. And so it's important that we do a lot of advocacy for people to understand the need for us to protect children and treat them or train them the right way. This is not going to help us in any way. And for parents, it's important we also learn and understand contemporary ways or strategies or measures in handling children. We need to avail ourselves for knowledge. We need to understand dynamics in handling or training children in modern times, so that those old era approach of training or grooming children, we don't continue to adopt them in contemporary times. It's not going to help us in any form or manner. So for me, the police service should take this one up and make sure that the culprits are severely punished for their act.
All right.
I also want to touch briefly on the central bank, the dismissal of the workers from the central bank.
Okay.
Sweetie, you see, this is an issue that, for me, I have talked about it several times, that our public sector, our state institutions, we need to have a holistic audit about the way we are handling our public sector. Go and ask every young graduate on the streets of Ghana. The first thing that they are thinking about is to secure employment in any state or public sector institution. They are being trained to think that if I graduate and I get opportunity to work in the Bank of Ghana, the VRE, the ECGs, and all the institutions that you can mention, then I am doing something better. We are not being trained, we are not being oriented into understanding the importance of entrepreneurship. And so that is why we have a country of 33 million, but then very few people are working in the public sector. And our wage bill is just so, so huge that we cannot contain that, because everybody wants to go there. And why are they ashamed to go into these sectors or to work in these institutions? Because they know that incentives are good. because they know that when they go there, they are going to do well. They are going to amass wealth and all the things that you can talk about. And so the attention, the focus is all about securing employment in these places. And of course, the political class knowing very well also that if I'm able to satisfy these young people, these hungry people, I mean, these people who have so much desperate to work in these institutions, if I'm able to satisfy them by securing employment opportunities for them, then they know that, okay, the social contract in terms of they also holding on to their political leverage is still going to be sustained. And so it's not surprising. And that is not a case of Bank of Ghana. Go to all the state institutions, or all the institutions that you can talk about, the Ghana Gas and all the institutions. Payroll, staffing issue is a big deal. And that's why you go to a particular office, a responsibility or a task that you feel that a person or two can do. You find a small office with about 5 or 6 desk people there doing all sort of works which could have been done by 1 or 2 persons. And so we need a holistic audit of our public sector to understand the demand supply, the push and pull dynamics, and see how we can streamline it. If not, these issues are going to reach the time where is always pushing their people into those spaces.
Thank you so much, Dr. Abedi. So that does it for the Ghanaian Times newspaper. Kojo, which paper do you have?
I have the Daily Graphic, and there's a story on page 14 that is of interest to me. It says Italy converts 70% of Ghana's debt to grants. And the story is that Italy has converted nearly 70% of its concessional loans to Ghana into grant in what is considered a significant boost to the local economy. The gesture wipes off 70% of Ghana's indebtedness to Italy, which ultimately reduces the national debt portfolio. Now, the Italian ambassador to Ghana, Laura Ranalli, who made this known during a courtesy call on the presidency, said the move was a demonstration of Italy's commitment to support Ghana's economic recovery and long-term growth. Now, Dr. Jabir, how must Ghana build on this? Once we have 70% of our debt to Italy being forgiven. Okay, let me bring in Dr. Asah-Asante. Doc, so take this for us. How must we build on from here? 70% of our debt to Italy has been turned into grants.
Good news. But what we have to do is that it's not every day that somebody will continue to help you this way. Let us be prudent when we are using state resources. Because we have the power to borrow, we shouldn't just borrow anyhow. Let us be measured and tempered. Once we do that, and then we are able to minimize expenditure, cut waste and all that, we can live within our means if we want to. Look at a short period of time, what Good Board is doing. It tells you that there are a lot of sectors, if care is taken and we pay attention, we'll be able to rake in a few, that borrowing will come in sparingly. It will not be just business as usual, that we borrow with one-tom, fashion. No. So I believe that there should be a reprieve for us. And then going forward, we need to handle things so that we don't go back to the old order.
Okay. Dr. Jibiru, if you want to take a bite on this, I mean, 70% of our debt to Italy converted into grants. It means a lot to us.
Yeah, this is a very good call. Public debt is divided into several components, and one of them is bilateral debt. And what Italy has done means that they have reduced component of our bilateral debt. What is the composition of our bilateral debt to the total debt composition we have in Ghana? And exactly what Italy has done. So if Ghana is able to arrive at an agreement with other countries, then it means that we can continue to reduce our debt portfolio. But that notwithstanding, what it also means is that giving you a grant means that they are asking you to use that debt forgiveness for something that they will ultimately benefit from. What are they looking out for from you? And what do you have to use the funds to do? Is it that you have to use that to support your health? Is it that you have to use that to support your education? Is it that you have to use that to support your infrastructure development? Any kind of, they may have to define that to Ghana. And Ghana will have to comply with it. So it's a very good call. I think that the government, as is stated already, we need not be wasteful. Wastefulness is where the problem is. Efficiency of the money you borrow is very important. What is the marginal efficiency of our investments? vis-a-vis how much you have borrowed. Marginal efficiency, I mean that what additional capital are you adding to what you have gone in for? Such a way that at the end of the day, there is going to be a full benefit in terms of scaling up your infrastructure, in terms of creating jobs, etc., for the good people of Ghana. That has always been the case. We borrow the money, we waste the money, we don't see what we have used the money to do. At the end of the day, we are still living in a very huge debt component. Just imagine, ESLA was introduced in 2017, mainly to finance the energy sector. What have we seen?
Okay.
Down the lane, we have about almost $3 billion standing for us to finance, which means that even the ESLA itself has not achieved its usefulness. We use it, we mortgage the money. As soon as the money landed, we mortgage it and went and use it for a loan. And we have utilized all that loan. And yet now the place is embedded again with a huge debt. And we are crying all over the place that we have problems. So, I mean, let's try to analyze and resolve most of these problems. If we are able to do so, I don't think that as a country we'll continue to have problems. Okay. So let's be efficient with our borrowing. Let's be efficient with our utilization of the money we borrow. Okay. And that will help as a country to be able to streamline and boost our economic development.
Suji, let me follow it up with the News Center newspaper because there's a story here. It says 1.8 billion Ghana cedis paid for public lighting, but street light, traffic light don't function. Dr. Asante, your take on this?
Very sad. Very, very sad. It's not only the case that we don't have some of our street lights not being on, but the machine or the system itself doesn't work. I'll give you an example. Every Wednesday, I drive to Accra City Campus to teach. You see that traffic light at the Holy Spirit Cathedral. Part is functioning, part is not functioning. How do you expect people to drive? When you get there, I always get scared. All right. But it shouldn't be so, because these are things which have been paid for. So if I don't see a reflection of that in terms of what is out there, then I begin to ask questions. Where has that money gone to? I think authorities must listen with rapt attention and take note and fix this problem. This shouldn't be difficult. When we pay, we should enjoy the service. That is all. If we don't pay, we suffer the consequence. So what is the case that we pay and yet we don't have the service? It is very disingenuous on a part of those who handle that portfolio for us. They should do better.
Dr. Abedu, you are a development analyst. How does this, mean for our development? Paying 1.8 billion but not enjoying street lights and traffic lights. Dr. Abedu, do we still have you? I
think it's muted again.
Okay.
No?
Then let's do Dr. Jabiru.
Okay.
Dr. Jabiru, you want to have a point, a take on this?
Yes. Always I've been calling for us to have a very good street light and even a very good traffic lighting, traffic light. And if you drive in this country in the night, you will be very sad for yourself. You will think that this is not a country. You will think that you are not living in a country. Even in East Legon and all those places that we pride ourselves for. If you are flying and you are coming in the night and the plane is descending, you will think that you are not descending in the country. You will think that it is just somewhere you are descending. I mean, sometimes when I see this, I get very sad. We spend money and we don't see where the money has passed and we don't see what has happened. Whoever has done that, the person should be prosecuted. Now look, when you go elsewhere, every corner, even if I was in Aberdeen this year, I think in March, I realized that, you see, what people have done to beat us is that the city authorities are very efficient in fixing problems. What has been the efficiency of our AMA, our KMA, and all of that? I don't know, given enough authority to be able to address basic problems. Street lighting and all those things and traffic light, it is not the duty of the central bank to come and fix it in your community. It is the duty of the assemblies to identify spotlights where street lights are supposed to be fixed, where traffic lights are supposed to be fixed, because they are very important ingredients for national development.
Okay.
I mean, your citizens' life is very important. And street lighting and traffic lights regulate.
Dr. Mohammed, unfortunately,
driving.
we have to leave it here. We have a packed show today and we have only 2 hours, so please bear with us. And thank you for joining us. I just want to read out the headlines of the major papers that we haven't gotten into. Cocoa Board fires and Seaboard fires NPA for disobeying presidential order. NDC voters back Ken in NPP 2028 race. And minority demands immediate recall of sacked BOG. This is from the Ghanaian custodian. And I'll end with the Ghanaian publisher. And it says, on restoring the Songo Lagoon, Electrochem gets Ada Chief's backing. And of course, on the NPP race, Baumia pulls ahead and remove Kofi Boache from police council. Pick a copy of the various newspapers and get into the stories yourself. That's how we are ending the news review this morning. Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante is a political analyst and the head of the Center of European Studies at the University of Ghana. Dr. Jabir Mohammed is senior lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School. Dr. Kwesi Ejiafola-Beidu is a development analyst, and they joined us for this conversation. And the AM show is sponsored by Waylead Properties. We provide quality housing at affordable costs with flexible payment options. Please stay with us. When we return, we get into our big stories.